Greetings, I'm Professor K, and in this short video presentation, we're going to do a short overview of Sysinternal's Process Explorer. Process Explorer is a free task manager and system monitor software for the Windows operating system. It is part of the Sysinternal's suite of products, which consist of a set of tools that help you manage, monitor, troubleshoot, and diagnose your Windows systems and applications. Process Explorer can be thought of as a more powerful task manager, a program usually used to get information about computer performance and resource usage. To get a copy of Process Explorer, you can open up any search engine and you can just type in Sysinternal Suite, or you can just type in Process Explorer and it will give you a link where you can download either the entire suite of tools from the Microsoft TechNet site, or you can download Process Explorer as an individual download from a TechNet site. In this example here, I've downloaded the entire suite from the Microsoft TechNet site, and if I just right click on the download, it is an archive. I'm going to select from the context menu, Extract All. I'll accept the default location for the extraction, and I'll click Extract. Once the archive has been extracted, you find the folder that was extracted, hold down the Shift key on your keyboard, and right-click on the extracted folder, and from the context menu, you're going to select Open Command Window here as Admin. From the command prompt, all we have to do now is type in the name of the tool. The name of the tool is procexp.exe, Process Explorer 64-bit. Now once you have that typed in, just hit Enter. It comes back to a prompt, and in just a moment, Process Explorer will open up running as administrator. The first time you run the program, you will have to accept the license agreement. None of the tools inside of the Sysinternal suite of tools require installation. You can run them just by launching them as I showed you using the command prompt, or you can go inside of the folder, right-click on the tool, and run as administrator. The first time you run Process Explorer, you are presented with the default Process Explorer window. This window consists of a process list with the processes presented to you in a tree-like structure. Each process in Process Explorer will be assigned a certain color based upon its type and state. We can use these colors to determine, for example, the differences between services or packed images. To better understand what these colors mean, we can go up to Options, and we can scroll on down and we can configure colors. Here we see the default colors assigned depending on the type and the state of the process that is running. Starting at the top, when a new process shows up in Process Explorer, it starts out as bright green. Next we have red. When a process is killed or closes, it will usually flash red right before deleting. Next we have Own Processes. Processes running as the same user account as Process Explorer. Services will show up as being light pink, although it's worth noting that they might have child processes that are launched as a different user, and those might be a different color. Processes highlighted in dark gray are suspended processes. When a process is suspended, it can't do anything. You can easily use Process Explorer to suspend an application. Sometimes crash apps will briefly show up in gray while Windows is handling the crash. Packed images will show up using the color purple. These processes might contain compressed code hidden inside of them, or at least Process Explorer thinks that is the case. If you see a purple process, make sure to scan for malware. Immersive processes will show up as bright blue. This is just a fancy way of saying that the process is a Windows application using the new APIs. For some reason, you'll also notice that Windows Explorer shows up as immersive. The color assigned to a process is going to depend on how important that process is rated. So there will be some overlap between these different scenarios. The colors will be applied in the order of precedence. If a process is a service and it is suspended, it will display in dark gray because that color is more important. The order of preference is suspended, packed, immersive, services, and then Own Processes. In the main window, you have a set of columns going from left to right. We have the Process column right here. The file name of the executable also includes the icon if one exists. So you can see that these are all the processes I currently have running on my machine, and some of them do have an icon, which is provided by the developer. Next, we have the CPU column. Here we see the amount of CPU time in the last second. Next, we have private bits, the amount of memory allocated to the program alone. Next, we have the working set, which shows us the amount of RAM being utilized by the process. Next, we have the PID column, the process identifier that identifies an active process. The description column gives us a description of the process if one is available. The last column is the company name, the name of the company that created the software if one is available. You can customize these columns and add others, as you can click on any of the columns to sort by that field. By default, the view is updated once per second. At the very top of the window, you have a number of graphs. Going from left to right, you have the CPU. Next, you have memory, I/O, network, disk, and finally system. You can click on any of these graphs to open them up in a separate window, and you can get more information about what's going on underneath the hood of your operating system. The information in the graphs is also summarized and presented to you at the bottom of the window. You can see the summary being displayed down here in the taskbar. By right-clicking on any process, you can bring up a context menu that will give you a list of actions that you can take and perform against that process. If I right-click on the command.exe, you'll see that I have a number of options. Starting at the top, you'll see that I have the window option available to me. That means that currently there is a window open for the command prompt on my machine. And if I click on it, I can bring it to the front. If I right-click on a process and I don't have access to the window, that just means that that process is currently not open in a window on my desktop. An example of that would be CC Cleaner. If I right-click on it, it's not running in a window currently on my desktop, so I will not have access to the window. Going down the list of options in our context menu here, we see that we have Set Affinity. On multi-CPU systems, you can set processor affinity for a process so that its threads will only run on a CPU you specify. Set priority, used to configure the base scheduling priority of a process. Set a higher priority if you wish the process to get more CPU resources. Kill process. This option allows you to kill the process. Process Explorer will ask you for confirmation before killing the process. Kill process tree kills not just the item in the list, but also the children of that parent process. Restart kills the process and then starts it again. Suspend forces a process to become temporarily inactive so that that system resource becomes available for other processes. To resume a suspended process, choose the Resume item from the Process context menu. Create dump. This option lets you capture a mini dump or a full memory dump for troubleshooting purposes. Check Virus Total allows you to check the process for viruses using virustotal.com. Now the last two options that we have are Properties and Search Online. Properties displays useful information about the process, and we'll look more into that in just a moment. And finally, you have Search Online. This option will allow you to search the web so that you can gather information about the name of that process. Now back up here at Properties, if we click on this option, we're given a number of tabs that we can look at. We have the GPU graph, we have Performance, gives you all that information about how much resource is being utilized for this particular process. We have the Performance graph, we have Disk and Network I/O, and we also have Security. We have Environment, which has all the information about this particular process. We have Job, if there's a job running, and we have strings that are associated with this particular process. Now, one tab that is of particular interest is the TCP/IP tab. For instance, if this was a suspicious process, you would want to know if it was actually communicating with the command and control center, or if it was going to the web to communicate, for instance, as a bot. So for troubleshooting purposes, you can get a lot done by looking at the properties of that particular process. Now back up here at my CC Cleaner, if I right click on this and I go back up into the properties, one thing I wanted to show you was this image tab. This gives you a lot of good information about where this process is actually running from, where it's actually located in a directory, but also you get to see this auto start location, and if you like, you can click on this and it's going to take you up into the registry so that you can actually see where this program is being called upon up inside of the registry. You also have some other information down here, such as the data execution prevention status, which is currently enabled, and you get the status of what's going on with that as well. You can kill the process, you can bring it to the front, and you can also verify the parent. And here's another example. If I go into firefox.exe here, and I look at the properties, and I go to the TCP/IP tab, you'll see that I have established a number of connections to the internet. And I expect that if I have Firefox open, which I do at this time, so this would not be unexpected. But if I had a suspicious DLL or process that was running, and let's say that I didn't have a description, nor did I have a company name associated with that particular file or process, and I looked at the TCP/IP tab and I saw that it was communicating with a certain IP address on the internet, well, now I'm going to get concerned because that could be malicious. Now, if I have a window running in the background and I want to know what process is actually running that window, I can go over here and grab my crosshairs. If I take the crosshairs and I put it over the window, in this case, explorer.exe, and let it go, you'll notice that it comes back to Process Explorer, giving me the name of that process that is running that window. Using the keyboard shortcut of Control+I will bring up the system information graphs. We can click on the Summary tab to get a breakdown of everything that's going on with these different tabbed windows. The Summary tab contains 6 graphs presenting system-wide metrics that are shown in more detail on the CPU, memory, in and out, and the GPU tabs. On the left of each graph, there is a current level in graphical and numeric form. The graph on the right shows recent history. Moving the mouse over the history graph displays a tooltip containing the time of day. Next, we have the CPU tab. Under the CPU tab of the System Information window, the red area displays the percentage of time spent executing in kernel mode. The area under the green line represents total CPU utilization as a percentage. Under the Memory tab, the Memory tab of the System Information window contains the system commit and physical memory graphs. In the commit graphs, the area under the yellow line indicates the commit charge, the total amount of private bytes committed across all processes plus the paged pool. The physical memory graphs indicate the amount of physical memory in use by the system. The lower part of the tab shows some memory-related metrics. The I/O tab. The I/O tab of the System Information window displays I/O bytes, network bytes, and disk bytes. I/O bytes represent the amount of file and device I/O throughput. Network bytes represents network I/O, and disk bytes represents the I/O throughput to the local disk. The lower part of the tab displays the number of I/O and disk read, write, and other operations, and network receive, send, and other operations since the last data refresh. On newer versions of Windows, there is a GPU tab. This tab will display GPU graphs that show GPU utilization. Since Process Explorer provides more useful information than Task Manager, you may want to replace Task Manager with Process Explorer. By enabling the Replace Task Manager option under the Options tab, you can make Process Explorer replace Task Manager. This will ensure that when you right-click on the taskbar and select Task Manager, you will launch Process Explorer rather than Task Manager. So you go up here to Options, and underneath here you have the option to replace Task Manager. Now if you want to go back to using Task Manager, just go back up inside the Process Explorer, open up the options, and uncheck where you have a check mark next to Replace Task Manager. If you would like to gather more information by adding more columns, underneath View, you can scroll on down and click on where it says Select Columns, and here you can check the boxes to add more columns. For instance, if you would like to see what command line commands were used to launch the process, you can select this box, and now you will have a column that will show you the command line that was used to launch that particular process. Now if you would like to look at the DLLs and the handles that are created for launching each one of these processes, you can go over here to the right, and using this icon here, it's either going to say Show DLLs or Show Handles. If I click on it, you'll see that I'm currently showing you the handles that are currently associated with this process. If you would like to close that bottom pane, just click on this icon over to the right where it says Hide Lower Pane, and the pane is gone. If you would like to view the DLLs that are associated with that process, just click on the icon to view those DLLs. If you have questions about a DLL being legit or being malware, all you have to do is find that particular DLL you have in question, right-click on it, and you can check Virus Total, and using a hash, Virus Total will tell you whether or not your DLL is legit. And so in this short video presentation, we got to do a short overview of Process Explorer, which is part of the Sysinternal's suite of tools. We got to see how we can use the information presented in Process Explorer to manage, monitor, troubleshoot, and diagnose our Windows system and applications. And lastly, we got to see how we can go about replacing Task Manager with Process Explorer on our Windows operating system. So if you got questions, you got concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out, contact your instructor, and I'll see you in my next video.